When Microsoft released Excel version 5, they brought out a new function called SUMIF. And in your file Excel 2, I've moved to the sheet called SUMIF. Now the whole idea here is I want to be able to sum up the hectares in the purple cells, but only if the area in the green cell matches what area I have listed here in the yellow cells. So I only want to first of all sum up the hectares if the area says total. Sitting in the cell C15, I'm going to go equals SU. Now here I can see the SUMIF function. The SUMIF function adds cells specified by a given condition or criteria. Let's double click SUMIF. The SUMIF function has 3 arguments. The first thing it wants to know is where's the range you want me to look at. Well, that would be B4 to B13, so I'll highlight B4 to B13. I'll then immediately press the key F4 because I need to lock in that range with the use of dollars. Because when I fill this formula down later for Rotorua, Kawerau, Pataruru and Tokoroa, I don't want B4 to B13 to change. So I lock it in by applying dollars, and the function key F4 is a quick way to do that. So that's the range I want it to look at, so then I go comma. Then it asks for a criteria. Now I could put double quote, topor, double quote. But I've actually got that written in A15. So instead of typing the criteria, I'll refer to the cell that contains the criteria, which is A15. I don't want to lock that in because when I fill this formula down, I want that to change to A16, 17, 18 and 19. I'll press comma so that I can enter the third and final argument. It says if I look at the range B4 to B13 and I find those that match A15, where are the values you want to sum? Well, that would be the range C4 to C13, and I'll press the function key F4 and lock that in. So I want it to look at B4 to B13, find those things that match A15, which is topor, and when it finds a match with topor, to add up the hectares in C4 to C13. And so I press enter, and 350 is the answer. I'll then drag that down. If I then do a random check, let's take, say, Kawerau. If I look up here, Kawerau is in C8. And if I hold the control key, Kawerau is also in C13. If I click one, control click the other, look down here on my status bar, the sum of the selected cells is 423, and that balances with 423 in C17. So that's correct. Besides the SUMIF function which came out with Excel version 5, when Excel 2007 came out, Microsoft released a cousin called SUMIFS. And so I'm going to take you to the SUMIFS sheet. Now the SUMIFS function is when you have more than one condition. The SUMIFS function will allow you to have up to 127 criteria, whereas the SUMIF is only one criteria. So in this particular sheet and in B15, I'm wanting to sum up the value of properties or the property prices, but only where the city is Kawerau, there's 2 or more bedrooms, and yes, there's a garage. So in B15, I'm going to put equals SU, and instead of choosing SUMIF, which is a given conditional criteria, I'm going to click on SUMIFS, which is a given set of conditions or criteria. 127 to be exact. So I'm going to double click SUMIFS. Reading this, Excel wants me first of all to give it the range that's to be summed, which in the earlier example was the last thing we gave it, but in this SUMIFS function it's the first thing. So I'm going to highlight B4 to B13 and I'm going to press F4 and lock it in and press comma. Now it wants to know where's your first criteria range and your first criteria. My first criteria range is C4 to C13, and I'm going to press F4 and lock it in, and then comma. It says where's the criteria that goes with C4 to C13, and that would be A15. I want to find Kawerau in C4 to C13, and then comma. Now with the use of bold, it goes, where's your second criteria range? My second criteria range is D4 to D13, and I'll lock it in with the function key F4. I'll then go comma, and it says where's criteria 2, or what is criteria 2? That goes with criteria range 2. Well, I don't have it written anywhere in the spreadsheet, so I'll have to put it in double quotes. Double quote, greater than equal to 2, double quote. I'm looking for a number greater than equal to 2 in D4 to D13, comma. My third criteria range is the garages in E4 to E13, and I lock that in with the function key F4, and then comma. And criteria 3, that goes with criteria range 3, is I'm looking for those that say yes. So double quote, yes. So at the end of the day, criteria 3 is yes. I'm looking for a yes in E4 to E13. I'm looking for a number greater than or equal to 2 in D4 to D13. I'm looking for kawerau in C4 to C13, and those are the ones I'm wanting to sum. I want to sum those prices for those places, properties that come from the city kawerau that have 2 or more bedrooms, and yes, they have a garage. Enter 600,000. I then fill that down, and I'll do a random check on Whakatane. If I look here, Whakatane, 2 or more bedrooms, yes, it has a garage, that one counts. Here's Whakatane, 2 or more bedrooms, yes, it has a garage, so I'm going to hold the control key because that one counts as well. Click on B4 and control click B7. This is Whakatane also, but there's no garage, so it doesn't count. And here's Whakatane again, but no garage, so it doesn't count. So the sum of the property prices for those properties from Whakatane that have 2 or more bedrooms and yes have a garage is the sum of these two, which when I look down here is 625,000, so that balances with what I see in B16. So that's correct. In addition to summing, you can also average. Let's start with the average if, and I'll just zoom in. I want to know the average hectares, but only if they come from topor. So I could use the average if function by going equals AV. It's one condition, so I could use the average if as opposed to the average ifs. I'll double click average if. It wants to know where's the range that I'm to look at. Well, that would be B4 to B13, and lock it in, comma. And what is the criteria? The criteria is A15, comma. And the range to ultimately be averaged is C4 to C13, and lock it in. And so the average hectares for topor was 116.667, and I can fill that down. If I have more than one criteria, then I need to use the average ifs function. And so here I'm going to the sheet called average ifs. And here I want to know the average house price for a property in kawerau with 2 or more bedrooms and yes with a garage. So in B15 I'll go equals AV, and because I've got more than one criteria, I have a set of criteria, I'll choose average ifs. I want to average the range B4 to B13, lock it in, comma. I want it to look at C4 to C13, lock it in, comma. I want it to find kawerau, A15, comma. Oops, backspace, comma. I want it to then look at D4 to D13, lock it in. I want it to find greater than, equal to 2, double quote, comma. And then I finally want it to look at E4 to E13, lock it in, comma, double quote, find the yeses. Find a yes in E4 to E13, a number greater than or equal to 2 in D4 to D13, a match with A15 and C4 to C13, and average what's in B4 to B13. The average house in kawerau with 2 or more bedrooms and a garage is 600,000. There is not only a SUMIF and a SUMIFS and a COUNTIF and a COUNTIFS. SUMIF and a SUMIFS, an AVERAGEIF and an AVERAGEIFS. There's also a COUNTIF and a COUNTIFS. Let's start with COUNTIF. I want to count the areas that say total. So in B15 I'll go equals COU and I'll choose COUNTIF. COUNTIF this range here, comma, contains a match with A15. The COUNTIF is more simplistic because it doesn't need a range to sum or average. So this is simply looking at B4 to B13 and finding a match with A15. I'm noticing I do need to highlight and lock in that range and then press enter. There are 3 from total, 1, 2, 3, and I can fill that down. So if you need to count just certain ones and there's only one criteria, use the COUNTIF. But if you need to count certain ones and there's more than one criteria, we use the COUNTIFs. In B15 I'm going to go equals COU, double click COUNTIFs, tell it to look at C4 to C13, lock it in, comma, and find those that match A15, comma, look at D4 to D13, lock it in, comma, and find those that have a number greater than or equal to 2, comma, look at E4 to E13, lock it in, comma, and find those that contain a yes. We're looking for those that contain a yes in E4 to E13, a number greater than or equal to 2 in D4 to D13, and kawerau in C4 to C13. And there's 1. And if I fill that down, there's 2 for Whakatane and 2 for Tokoroa.